Guillermo Aranda Mena. I'm Associate Professor at RMIT University in Melbourne. My colleagues are Paulo Vaz Serra from the University of Melbourne and Peter Edwards. So the paper here presented is titled Concept Proofing, a proposed early stage project complexity assessment tool. Although it's a tool, the understanding of how complexity and chaos theory could help to better inform project managers, design managers, and construction managers to deal with risk in projects. So the whole understanding was, first of all, to identify what are the definitions around complexity from both official dictionary definitions, obviously with a literature review around them, and then how would they be seen by industry experts mainly, and whether once you could understand what the complexity of a project might be, what is the risk implication in the management of it. Of projects is really around dictionary that's a purely dictionary consisting of several closely connected parts. It is a complicated, it's an intricate. That's pretty much one that is very often a popular also understanding of it. Whereas in complexity science, it also talks about so much on the outcome of a simple line of procedure that can branch out into unforeseen events and branches. And that this means is that a complex system could be seen, or initially was understood as fixed in time. But we know that the one that affects us and is related to us is the one that is dynamic. So it's self-organized or organizing, and it's imposed. So what's then the level of control, and therefore how much we need to understand these systems in terms of project delivery, risk management, and all the aspects to do with the successful completion of a project. 1999, who studied the complexity of a project and its influence by the level of uncertainty. Remington and Pollock in 2007 typified complexity as a structural system, which in this case moved from a permanent to a transitional state. So that would be called adding dynamic characteristics, which are more relevant to, in this case, to projects and timeline. Kane in 2004 proposed a social networking view, which brings the human factor in complexity theory. In 1996, Stacy studied the dimensions of uncertainty with certainty and as measures of agreement between constituents in a system. So from simple to anarchical. This linked more directly to chaos theory, and finally Snowden and Bone created a CineFin, which is a sense-making framework for the understanding of complexity models by creating scenarios or quadrants, and these include a simple, complicated, complex, and chaotic. It takes that as a background, and then from there we actually through the workshops engage with industry. So there were 5 of those PESCAT workshops in terms of how you bring that theory and transform the theory to create a tool. Different levels of experience, evaluating project scenarios, and with what is the situation based on their own understanding of that project, and a level of uncertainty. Obviously, it's one to take into account. So we move across different project, I would say, leadership levels and governance levels to tasks, so tactical, operational, strategic, and so forth. Learning through by doing, so the tacit knowledge, or learning by studies, but eventually the experienced project managers will obviously have a level of wisdom that a lot of it actually industry experts at different levels of experience evaluating project scenarios, and with what is the resolution of those projects is kind of how they zoom in or zoom out the granularity of understanding what might be the event of a situation based on their own understanding of that project. It's what it's important. So we'll close the session here. The conclusions are our concept proofing research has demonstrated that the practicality of the tool and has helped to evaluate each project stakeholder coming from the stakeholder, not the project person itself. So this is really, really important. Individual users can modify the lenses according to their own background. That's something quite unique. So it's not a tool that is off the shelf. It has to change and modify depending on personal background, experience, and knowledge levels. The tool is also best applied in small groups. It's not massive, is mainly in small workshop settings, and this is really, really important. The assessment of the outcomes can really influence project decision making, especially in terms of risk management, scheduling, resourcing, pricing, and supervision. Project complexity is information can be integrated into organizational knowledge management systems, so it's more towards intelligent systems if you are able to capture some of that. And the users can practice complexity assessment also historically. So with that in mind, I'd like to close this session, and thanks once again. We'll talk and see you hopefully very